And being in agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat became like great drops of blood falling to the ground. In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus is in agony. He is bowed down. His frame is so weak that even he, the Son of God, needs an angel from heaven to come and strengthen him. The sweat is leaking from his every pore. And the Greek is actually more graphic. The English says that these are like great drops of blood, but the Greek is thromboi. They are blood clots falling to the ground. Jesus suffers even before his scourging and his crucifixion. And yet the picture that we have of Jesus on the Mount of Olives is not simply meant to arouse your sympathy. There is something more that is happening here. Jesus' suffering, as we say, doesn't begin with the crucifixion, and in the same way, Jesus' battle for your salvation does not begin on Mount Calvary, but it begins here on the Mount of Olives. It's now that Jesus is entering his darkest hour that he begins to practice the thing that he taught to his disciples. When they said to him, "Lord, teach us to pray," in the way that John taught his disciples. And you hear several of those petitions from the Lord's Prayer. The petitions that we repeat by rote are Jesus' lifeline, now that his hour has come. As Jesus battles for our salvation, we see something very important about prayer. The prayer is not always a serene and meditative kind of exercise. Prayer is a battle, and Jesus is striving mightily. You even see in Jesus' posture, he is completely subservient before his Father. First he's on his knees, and then he's on his face, and he is doing battle. He is repeating those petitions that he has taught to others. He is praying that he would not be led into temptation, that he would be delivered from evil. And then he prays, "Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done." And Jesus prays because he is in agony. This is very important for us. Jesus' pain and his anguish does not drive away the spirit of prayer from him. Jesus does not brood in silence, in bitterness. He does not try to impress God by showing him how wounded he is and refusing to speak to him. This is what we do much of the time, in our sorrow and in our anger. But Jesus instead calls upon God as his Father while he is in agony. The agony is interesting too. The Greek word is agonia, and it does refer to pain and distress and anguish. But that's not all that agonia refers to. Agonia, the noun form, refers to a contest, to a battle, a competition between two rivals, especially between two athletes. And this is where we see that Jesus is doing battle. He's battling against the devil in the Garden of Gethsemane. Now, he wrestled with him already before, for 40 days in the wilderness. And when Satan was bested, it says that the devil left him until an opportune time. And now the opportune time has come. And it's just as the faintest glow and flicker of the torches on the horizon appear, that Jesus has the angel who appears and strengthens him. Nobody sees that but Jesus, but the appearance of the angel is the Father's answer to his prayer. If you're willing to let this pass from me, then so be it, but if not, your will be done. How it is, though, that the angel strengthens Jesus is not clear. But from that time, Jesus has the strength, and he is able to take the blows. He's able to bear the sin of the world, to shoulder his cross, and then, in his final battle, to deal the death blow to his opponents. And the next thing the disciples know, Jesus has jolted them awake. And they look at him in the firelight, and they see that splattered all over him is this blood that has been leaking in his sweat. They don't quite know yet, but those dark stains that blot him are portending what's about to come. And Jesus simply looks at them with resolve, and he says, "Why are you sleeping? Rise and pray that you may not enter into temptation. Amen.